Alright, welcome to episode 4. Today we're going to talk about Punxsutawney Phil, because I'm in Punxsutawney, and just up yonder, behind me, is good old Gobbler's Knob. So, buckle up, lean your seat back, and enjoy being on the road with Derek Outdoors. Now, it's strange that we rely on a groundhog to predict the weather, and here in Pennsylvania, we take our groundhogs very seriously. As you know, probably Punxsutawney Phil's the most famous groundhog in the world, and the second most famous groundhog in Pennsylvania is Gus, and he is the mascot for our lottery. Well, why groundhogs, you might ask? And it all goes back to the German immigrants that settled here in Pennsylvania, and especially in the Punxsutawney region. Now, prior to groundhogs, there's a very old Christian tradition of these candles that the monasteries would hand out, and depending on how the candle burned, and I'm not really sure, but the candle would predict the harshness and the duration of winter and spring and so forth. And well, people being people, transitioned it from candles to animals. And in Germany, I've seen that it was hedgehogs, and one other source said badgers. But when they carried this tradition over to Pennsylvania and they brought the tradition with them, they turned to groundhogs, also known as woodchucks, and a lot of lore with woodchucks. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck? Woodchuck could chuck wood? Well, that is yet to be determined. But what is determined is that groundhogs now tell us if winter has an extended stay. Now, there is some validity in this, and I would like to think that the tradition started by some people who are out just bored in the wintertime and maybe got a laugh out of saying, hey, I bet you that groundhog will see its shadow. Because basically what'll happen is if the groundhog comes out of the burrow and he sees his shadow, he gets scared, runs back down into his burrow, and anyway, 6 more weeks of winter. It's silly, but I have found that there is some validity behind this lore of the groundhog, because the groundhog hibernates. So, in turn of seeing the groundhogs, when they come back out of their burrow, it is a sign of spring. And the males come out earliest, and they're doing so in preparation to mate. And the groundhog won't come out if there's no food for the groundhog to eat. So when they come out in early spring, late winter, they're checking the validity of their food source and readiness of breeding females. So in a way, when farmers and common folk started to see groundhogs, if the groundhogs, it wasn't so much of them seeing their shadow, but it was based on if the groundhogs are staying out and staying active, it was a sign of early spring. And so that is why they chose groundhogs. And I can understand that. And then from there, celebration of spring, and well, on February 2nd, it became Groundhog's Day, which was popularized with the movie Groundhog's Day. And there are other famous groundhogs throughout, but they're mostly local. But on February 2nd, it is a phenomenon. People don traditional German garments, and they flock by the thousands in late winter to see Punxsutawney Phil. And Phil himself has some lore. Now, we all know that, groundhogs, I don't know their lifespan, but I know it's not tremendous. But Phil is immortal. And supposedly, he is kept alive by this magical groundhog punch, essentially the elixir of life that fairies make for Phil. So, there is only one Punxsutawney Phil. And down here, if you question people, as you saw, there was a nice ground. They have groundhogs all over down here. It's pretty fantastic. And if you question how many Phils there have been, they will tell you there is in fact only one groundhog, and that is Phil, and there will only ever be just one groundhog. And Phil came to be in 1887 by none other than the Punxsutawney groundhog catchers, or basically there was an esteemed group of groundhog enthusiasts, and in 1887, with the formation of the Punxsutawney Groundhog Association, it came to be Phil. And ever since then, this tradition has been celebrated. I've never been, but I may have to check it out. So here the groundhog is a sacred animal, and I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. It's an awesome tradition. Again, it's celebrated worldwide, so it's another one of those things how it is morphed from candles to badgers and hedgehogs to groundhogs, an esteemed association, and one eternal groundhog that lets us know above anything else when we're going to be able to plant our crops. So in a way, with my job at Bonnie Plants, I really have a lot of weight in this debate here with old Phil, letting me know whenever I can come and put my plants out for everyone to buy. So in a way, I'm tied into this lore and this superstition as well. So hats off to Punxsutawney Phil. Hats off to wacky traditions and getting people outside very early on a cold February morning to see if this well-groomed groundhog, this immortal well-groomed groundhog who has never lived in the wild but has a wonderful pampered life in Punxsutawney, in this beautiful area in Pennsylvania. And we have him to thank for spring, or we have him to curse for extra winter. And if you have any local traditions or local animals that, kind of dictate what we do in an odd roundabout way, please share. And as always, like and subscribe. And if you want to see, you want to hear about topics or future topics of the show, I know this was kind of a short episode, but again, how long can you really talk about a groundhog? So I thank y'all for tuning in, and I hope you've enjoyed this short ride on the road here with Derek Outdoors. Take care, everybody.